Hey folks, want to jump on here and shoot a quick solo podcast? This one's going to be on McKinsey. That said, super excited to discuss this business today as we haven't delved into this industry yet. That said, let's get into it. So McKinsey Company is one of the world's top management consulting firms, often grouped with, quote, MBB, end quote, McKinsey, BCG, Bain. It advises companies, governments, and institutions on strategy, operations, technology, and more. Founded in 1926 by James O. McKinsey, headquarters New York City. What they do: business strategy and transformation, digital and AI consulting, operations and supply chain improvement, organizational and leadership consulting. Reputation: highly prestigious but also demanding work culture, known for hiring top graduates from elite universities, often a stepping stone to leadership roles in business and government. Let's go over to gemini.google.com. It sounds like you might be referring to McKinsey and Company, the global management consulting firm. Whether you're prepping for an interview, curious about their quote up or out end quote culture, or just trying to figure out what consultants actually do all day, I've got you covered. Here is a quick snapshot of what defines them. The McKinsey profile, the quote big three end quote. They are part of the quote which you already talked about, MBB, end quote, trio, McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, widely considered the most prestigious consulting firms in the world. Problem solvers: they are hired by CEOs, governments to solve massive, complex problems, from digital transformation to entering new global markets. Alumni network: their quote mafia end quote of former employees is legendary, including CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and highly ranked political leaders. Common topics of interest: if you're looking for something specific, it usually falls into one of these buckets. The case interview: their notoriously difficult interview process involving mental math and structured logic. The MECE principle: their structured framework, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, used to break down any problem into smaller parts. The culture: known for a high intensity, high reward environment with a heavy emphasis on, quote, structured thinking, end quote. Quick tip: if you're practicing for the assessment, the McKinsey Solve, their digital game-based assessment, is a common hurdle that tests how you process information under pressure. Let's go over to Claude.ai. Maybe we must bring back Perplexity. Take it a break. We already talked about McKinsey & Company, an American multinational strategy and management consulting firm that offers professional services to corporations, governments, and other organizations. This isn't an advertisement or sponsorship, by the way. It is the oldest and largest of the, quote, MBB, end quote, management consultancies, the elite trio of McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, BCG, and Bain & Company. History: McKinsey is founded by, where he got into this, 1926, by James O. McKinsey, a professor of accounting at the University of Chicago with a vision to apply scientific management principles to help businesses improve efficiency. Unlike other consulting firms of the time, McKinsey emphasized fact-based decision-making and structured problem-solving. What it does: McKinsey's primary services include strategy development, operational improvements, digital transformation initiatives, and enhancing organizational performance. They also have a significant focus on public sector consulting. Scale and revenue: industry estimates place the firm's 2024 revenue at approximately $16 billion, presuming USD. A significant 40% of this revenue is now derived from AI and technology advisory services, highlighting a successful shift towards advanced consulting offerings. This is the source here is Porter's Five Forces, saying what it does. The firm's global, that's a link to the website, just in case anyone's referring back to the framework used in management consulting. The firm's global alumni network consists of the case study method, over 50,000 former colleagues in nearly 140 countries. McKinsey & Company focus today: McKinsey is heavily oriented around AI. In 2025, organizations moved past debating whether to embrace AI and began asking how to scale it responsibly and effectively. And McKinsey's most read insights reflect that shift, covering productivity, workforce transformation, and unlocking new sources of value. The firm has formed strategic partnerships with companies like Credo AI, C3 AI, NVIDIA, and Google Cloud, and its technology Trends Outlook identifies agentic AI, specialized semiconductors, robotics, bioengineering, and sustainable technologies as key areas for future transformation. And the framework is Porter's Five Forces. Let's continue. Here's a deeper dive into McKinsey's culture, influence, and controversies. Quote, the McKinsey way, end quote, culture and work style. McKinsey consultants have a unique way of thinking and communicating. Often referred to as, quote, the McKinsey way, end quote. This approach involves structured thinking, which we talked about briefly, concise communication, and a focus on data-driven insights, and new hires are expected to quickly assimilate into this way of working. The source is McKinsey and Company. The world of McKinsey values intellect over experience, influence over compulsion, logic over emotion, and fact over good feeling or good feel. It's also a place that is outwardly positive and upbeat, where very little is seen as impossible. That's consulting.us. Secrecy. One of McKinsey's defining traits is that it's extremely discreet. Secrecy, one second. Just make sure. Yeah, that's correct. Wow. Let's get into it. One of McKinsey's defining traits is it's extremely discreet. McKinsey won't even put its name on the slides and documents it produces. Their consultants sign non-disclosure agreements, and it's installed from day one to never disclose their business, who they work for, or how much they're paid. The source is McKinsey Company. This on Claude.ai. Notable alumni, the quote CEO factory, end quote. McKinsey is known as a quote CEO factory, end quote, with notable alumni including Google's Sundar Pichai, or Pichai. Don't know how I got that wrong. If you're listening, one sec. It's been a while. So, excuse me, Sundar Pichai. Maybe it hasn't. We talked about Gemini there, so excuse me. Sundar Pichai's Google Sundar Pichai, former Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, and Chelsea Clinton, consulting.us. Controversies. McKinsey has faced significant criticism over the years. By the way, for those who don't know, the reason why I brought that up, saying I should know it's been a while, is I am a ex-Google employee. So, controversies. McKinsey has faced significant criticism over the years. The firm has been criticized for its role promoting Oxycontin use during the opioid crisis in North America, its work with Enron, and its work for authoritarian regimes like Saudi Arabia and Russia. That's Case Basics, the source. In 2015, McKinsey revealed which Twitter accounts were most critical of the Saudi Arabian government. This seems like a controversy podcast, or like a controversial episode. So I won't get into this too much, going over the controversies. Leading to the government targeting and arresting the authors behind some of those accounts. The firm also garnered criticism for its work in South Africa, which it tied it to the inner circle of President Jacob Zuma, and the South African branch was ultimately charged with corruption. That's Wikipedia's the sources and Claude.ai. Critics note that McKinsey often advises both the companies that create problems and the governments that try to solve them, effectively, quote, playing both sides, end quote, and profiting from it. McKinsey and Company is the source. If I click into it, just the About Us section. I'm not sure if it's here or not. We'll go back to ChatGPT in a moment. Critics note that we already got into that. What it's like to work there. From the moment you join, you're expected to learn fast, think critically, and deliver results under tight deadlines. An environment that rewards resilience, but also can be exhausting. Porter's Five Forces is the source. That is a link to portersfiveforces.com. Employer reviews reflect this balance. McKinsey has an overall rating of 4.1 out of 5 based on over 14,000 anonymous reviews, with 78% of employees saying they'd recommend it to a friend. Common pros cited include culture, benefits, and career development, while common cons include management and work-life balance. In summary, McKinsey is a firm of enormous power and prestige, a place that shapes global business and government strategy, cultivates some of the world's top executives, but also operates with significant secrecy and has attracted serious ethical scrutiny over the years. It's a firm that inspires both deep admiration and deep skepticism, depending on who you ask. Wow, that's fascinating. We're just over 10 minutes. Let's go deeper into McKinsey & Company. This is on ChatGPT, especially from a, quote, how do I get in plus what it's like, end quote, perspective. Kind of already briefly talked about this. What jobs exist at McKinsey? The main consulting roles follow a clear ladder. Business analyst, BA, entry level, usually undergraduate, associate, post MBA, or experienced hire. Engagement manager, EM, leads projects, associate partner / partner, senior leadership. There are also specialized tracks: McKinsey Digital, Tech, Data, AI, Design, UX / UI. That's user experience and user interface, if you haven't heard the terms before. Operations / implementation roles. How to get into McKinsey. Number one, strong academics. They typically recruit from top universities in Australia, UNSW, University of Sydney, Melbourne, etc. Number two, resume essentials. They look for high GPA, leadership, clubs, startups, initiatives, internships, consulting, banking, tech, etc. Impact, not just participation. Number three, case interview, the hardest part. This is what most people struggle with. You'll be asked to solve a business problem like, quote, what are profits declining? Why are profits, quote, why are profits declining for an airline, question mark, end quote. You'll need to structure the problem, do quick math, think logically, communicate clearly. Example case thinking, say profits are down, revenue down, or costs up, question mark, revenue equals price multiplied by volume, costs equals fixed plus variable, those revenue equals, yeah, we got that correct. You break it down step by step, that's what they want. Salary, rough guide in Australia, I don't know how accurate this is, but let's go with it. It says a rough guide in Australia, business analyst, approximately AUD $100,000 to $120,000 total. Associate, approximate AUD $180,000 to $220,000 plus. Bonuses plus fast growth, work-life reality. Pros, very high pay, fast career growth, exit opportunities, Google, startups, private equity. Cons, long hours, 50 to 70 hours, weekly common, travel less than before, but still exists, high pressure. Exit opportunities, after 2 to 3 years, people often move to tech companies, e.g. Google, startups, private equity / VC, corporate strategy roles. Why you aim for McKinsey? Good fit if you like solving ambiguous problems. Ambiguous would mean, if you haven't heard before, unclear. Are analytical plus structured, want fast career acceleration. Not ideal if you want predictable hours, dislike pressure or constant feedback. I think that's it. Let's go to the one big thing. I'm not going to go any more into the job opportunity, the jobs at McKinsey or the career opportunities. One big thing about One big thing about McKinsey & Company, the one defining thing about McKinsey is they solve the most important high-stakes problems for the world's biggest organizations. What that actually means, McKinsey isn't just, quote, business advice, end quote. They work on problems like how a government should respond to an economic crisis, how a global company should restructure to survive, how industries adopt AI and new technology, how healthcare systems improve outcomes at scale. Their work often influences billions of dollars and millions of people. Why this is a big deal? Because of this, they get access to top CEOs, ministers, and leaders. Their recommendations can shape entire industries. Employees get exposed to complex, real-world decision-making very fast. They the trade-off, that level of impact comes with intense expectations, high pressure, very high performance standards. In simple terms, if most jobs are about doing work, McKinsey is about deciding what work should be done at the highest level. That's it, 15 minutes. Thanks for listening, folks. Feel free to leave a review or subscribe on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day.